Hey everybody. So we are talking today about clairs, our clair senses, and how to make them stronger. First of all, what are they? So if you're interested in at all developing your own psychic abilities, you want to get familiar with the clairs. We're all born with 5 physical senses, and we also all have a sixth sense, and that is what comes in the form of our clairs. It's our psychic senses. It's how we pick up telepathic energy transmissions. It's kind of like we all have an antenna. Some of us have satellites, but that we can raise these antennas or satellites up and dial into these radio waves that are constantly being broadcast around us from the non-physical realm. How do we develop them? Basically, you use them. In my experience, it's no different than exercising. If you want to get stronger and leaner, you have to make it a daily practice. So there's 4 basic clairs, and they are clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and claircognizance. My first book, Spirited, goes in depth into these clairs, gives you tools and exercises on how to develop them. But I'm going to briefly touch on each one of those right now. So clairvoyance, this is about clear seeing. This is all about connected to the third eye center. If you want to develop that visual psychic sense, you're basically going to want to practice meditating, just really trying to work on seeing things in your mind's eye. So if you can imagine, look at an object and really study it, and then close your eyes and then try and conjure that up, that image in your mind's eye, reimagine it. That right there, if you can do that, you're strengthening that clairvoyant muscle. Imagine when you wake up from sleeping and you had a dream and you lie there and you visually in your mind's eye can recall the images you saw in your dream. That is you tapping into that clairvoyance. Another great thing you can do is put some essential oil on the third eye center, one that helps amplify that center, or a quartz crystal to help unblock the energy that you might have shut down the third eye and to amplify the energy. Moving on to clairaudience. Clairaudience is all about clear hearing. It's connected to the ear chakras. Ways to really develop this is listen to music or higher vibrational sounds, okay? Play instruments. This helps us to attune our hearing to a higher vibration. Something I have found really helpful is crystal bowls or Tibetan singing bowls. It definitely shifts the energy. It raises the octave. It helps to clear, open, and align our own energy frequency to match that. And it's much easier when you do that to be able to dial into and hear the higher self's guidance and your loved ones in spirit, their messages. Another great thing to do is after, let's say you get off a phone call with someone and you hang up, if you can conjure up again that conversation in your mind's voice and really hear them, that's you developing how clairaudience is impressed into your own mind's voice. Another great thing to do for clairaudience is to meditate, to quiet down all the mind chatter, because it's all that mind chatter that gets in the way, that blocks us from our clear hearing, that really comes in the stillness. It's in the gaps in between your thoughts. Okay, so moving on to clairsentience. Clairsentience is clear feeling. For those of you empaths out there, for those of us who are really sensitive to energy, pay attention to your clairsentience. This is when we tune into the vibes of and oftentimes sponge up energy coming from the people and environments and situations around us. And we really feel it. The key here is being able to differentiate what's ours and what's not ours, what's theirs, internal versus external. So notice how you feel first thing in the morning when you wake up. That's your set point. It's a great indicator for if you're feeling good, you feel pretty grounded and balanced and centered, and then you go into your day and something rattles you, or out of the blue you're hit with a very strong, overwhelming emotion, most likely it's not yours. It's something coming at you that you're tuning into. Versus there's days we wake up on the wrong side of the bed. We feel off, and therefore everything after that feels off, or we're extra vulnerable to outside energies. Usually that's where we have to own it, and it's ours. So that would be something you can work with to really get in tune with your clairsentience. Claircognizance. This is clear knowing. It's out of the blue. You get a download of something. You just know it. You can't explain it. And it's not logical. It's just something you feel strongly about, and it's clear knowing. A lot of times I'll have in readings, Spirit will talk about somebody, their guides drop these blocks of consciousness into their consciousness, and it's a download of divine guidance. Somebody knows what a person's about or how a situation will unfold or work out the minute they meet them. Okay, that is claircognizance. The key here is trusting, okay? You trust that in that moment it may not make sense at all on paper, but you trust it will eventually play out and validate itself. So this conversation on clairs is just the tip of the iceberg. As I said again, check out my book Spirited for a more in-depth conversation on all of the clairs. But hopefully these are just easy and effective tools, a starting point for you if you're curious and inspired to start developing and, really trusting and working with your own innate intuitive gifts. As always, wishing you brightest blessings and all love.